Have you ever walked into a room and felt like people were looking at you differently, even when you weren't doing anything special? Have you started to wonder if something about you is changing, even though you can't quite explain what it is? It's not that your appearance has suddenly transformed overnight. It's something else, something deeper, a quiet shift, a feeling that you're becoming someone new, someone more true, more real. And even though you haven't said a word about it, people around you seem to notice. They look at you longer. They smile at you for no reason. Some seem curious. Some look like they're trying to figure out what's changed. But deep down, you know, something inside you is definitely shifting. It's not easy to describe because this kind of transformation isn't about your clothes, your style, or your looks. It's not about what's on the surface at all. This kind of change begins quietly, deep within. It starts in your heart, in your thoughts, in the way you see yourself and the world. Maybe it came after a long season of pain or silence. Maybe it showed up after you let go of someone you thought you'd never live without. Maybe it came from finally choosing yourself after years of shrinking, pleasing, or hiding. Whatever sparked it, something in you began to open up, and now the light inside you is starting to rise to the surface. It's the kind of light that doesn't need to announce itself. It just is. It doesn't need makeup, filters, or spotlights. It lives in your eyes now. It softens your voice. It fills the space around you. It makes people pause, not because you're demanding their attention, but because you're not. There's something about you that feels steady, grounded, kind, and strong, and people are naturally drawn to that, even if they don't understand why. This new energy you're carrying, this glow, is not something you're trying to create. It's not something you're performing. It's something you've become. It came from all the silent nights when you chose healing over bitterness, from the mornings when you got out of bed, even when it hurt, from the countless moments when you wanted to give up, but didn't. Every choice to grow instead of break has quietly built a new version of you, stronger, softer, more open, more at peace. And now the world is starting to feel that version of you, even before you fully see it yourself. You might not have noticed it right away, but you've started moving differently. You walk a little taller, not out of pride, but out of peace. Your shoulders are more relaxed. Your smile comes a little easier. You don't feel like you're holding your breath anymore. And when someone tries to bring chaos into your space, you no longer take the bait. You've learned to let some things go. You've stopped needing to be understood by everyone. You don't explain your worth anymore. You don't argue to be heard. You found comfort in your own silence, in your own presence, and that's something powerful. You don't need to make noise to be seen now. You don't need to compete for attention. You're just here. And somehow, that's more than enough. The people who cross paths with you can feel that you're different. They sense that you're not like everyone else. There's a calm about you that makes others feel calm too. There's a lightness about you that makes people want to be close. They might not understand what they're feeling, but they know they feel something when you're around. It's because your presence now holds a kind of depth that can't be faked. And the people who are sensitive to energy, who are paying attention, will feel it before you even speak. You might find that people linger around you longer than usual. They may tell you things they've never shared with anyone. They may ask for your thoughts, your perspective, your company. Not because you're trying to lead, but because you've become someone who feels safe, steady, and genuine. You've also likely noticed that you're not triggered the way you used to be. Things that used to bother you now feel small. You don't engage in every argument. You don't defend yourself to people who don't really care. You've stopped chasing approval. You don't waste your time proving your goodness, your value, your story. You've realized you don't need to. You're not cold. You're just clear. And that clarity is what keeps your peace intact. That clarity is what makes you magnetic. You've also started to glow. But this glow isn't about beauty in the traditional sense. It's the glow of someone who has come through the fire without losing themselves. It's the glow of someone who's been broken and rebuilt, not into someone new, but into someone true. This glow shows up before you even enter the room. People notice it in your stillness, in the way your laughter feels real now, in the way your eyes no longer look tired, but alive. You've begun to return to yourself, and that's where this glow is coming from. You don't need to try. You don't need to fake joy. You are joy because you've made peace with your past, and you're walking with grace into your future. Even your body is responding to the change. Your energy is lighter. Your face looks softer. You've let go of so much heaviness that it shows up in how you move. You don't rush as much. You don't carry stress in your neck or shoulders the way you used to. You feel more at home in your body, and people notice. They may not say anything, but they feel the difference. They feel the peace in the way you carry yourself. And maybe the most beautiful part of all this is how the things you once considered flaws are now starting to feel like gifts. The birthmark you used to hide, the crooked tooth you once hated, the loud laugh you tried to quiet. These things now feel like parts of your story. You're starting to love the parts of you that you once wished away. You're not interested in perfection anymore. You're interested in truth, in softness, in honesty. You're beginning to see that beauty isn't about looking flawless. It's about being real. People are drawn to that. They're not drawn to the things you thought they were. They're drawn to your courage, your kindness, your quiet strength. They're drawn to the fact that you've healed in places where others still hide. They're drawn to the way you stand in your truth without shouting, the way you walk with peace without needing to be loud. That's what makes you magnetic now. That's what makes you beautiful. Not your perfection, but your presence. So if you've been wondering what's going on, if you felt different, noticed people acting differently around you, or caught yourself feeling more alive, more peaceful, more you, just know this. You're not imagining it. This is real. You're becoming. You're growing into the version of yourself that has been waiting to emerge for a long time. You're not here to impress anyone. You're here to be fully and freely who you are. And that alone is more powerful, more beautiful, and more attractive than anything you could ever try to be. You're not glowing because of attention. You're glowing because you've finally come home to yourself. You are no longer someone who doubts their worth just because of past pain or old fears. You are no longer a reflection of your insecurities. You are living proof that healing is real, that transformation is possible, and that purpose can grow out of even the most broken places. You don't have to carry shame for the parts of yourself that used to feel unlovable. In fact, the very things you once tried to hide, your sensitivity, your honesty, your deep emotions, your truth, those are the things that now make you stand out. The right people, The ones truly meant for you will be drawn to those very parts of you, not despite them, but because of them. Because what once made you feel like you didn't belong is actually what makes you irreplaceable. You have been shaped by something higher, something deeper. You've been molded by pain, yes, but also by wisdom. You've been changed by love, not just the kind that comes from others, but the kind that grows inside you when you stop looking outside yourself for approval. And now, you're walking through life with purpose. And purpose changes everything. Purpose gives you direction. It gives you peace. It gives you power. It helps you say no to what drains you and yes to what feeds your soul. You stop running after people who don't see your worth. You stop begging for attention. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You no longer try to prove you're lovable. You just are. You've learned to sit with yourself and love what you find. You've stopped asking the world to tell you who you are. You already know. And when you walk like that, with quiet confidence, with peace in your spirit, people feel it. You don't need to raise your voice to be heard. You don't need to be the loudest one in the room to leave the deepest impact. You carry something calm, something clear, something rooted. People can't always describe it, but they notice it. They notice how you carry yourself with dignity, how you don't force anything, how you don't settle. They notice the discipline in your actions, the grace in your words, the way you protect your energy. They feel your peace. They see your strength, and that speaks louder than anything you could say. You've stopped performing for love. You've stopped chasing things that were never meant to stay. You've stopped letting fear make your choices. You've stopped explaining yourself to people who never truly listened. You no longer fight to be seen by people who only looked when it was convenient. You've realized that your value was never based on how much noise you make or how many people approve of you. Your value comes from who you are, how you love, how you grow, and how you rise again and again with softness in your heart. And slowly, you've learned the power of silence. You've learned the beauty of mystery. You don't have to share every thought, every move, every feeling. You don't have to open your heart to every hand that reaches for it. You've learned to pause. You've learned to listen to your inner voice. You've learned that you don't owe everyone access to your soul. You've stopped oversharing. You've stopped explaining your worth. You've stopped needing to be everywhere and everything for everyone. You're not doing less. You're just choosing better. You're being guided by clarity, not chaos. And what's so powerful about that is the way it draws people in. Because mystery has power. When you become more selective with your energy, you become more magnetic. People begin to crave your presence, not because you're trying to be seen, but because you've become someone who shines without effort. The more you protect your peace, the more others respect it. The more you focus on your growth, the more others admire it. You don't need to shout to be noticed. You don't need to compete to feel worthy. You don't need to be loud to be unforgettable. Your light speaks for itself. Your silence carries weight. Your presence makes an impact just by existing. You've become deeply attractive, but not because of looks, not because of charm, not because of trying to impress anyone. You've become attractive because you are in love with your own soul. You've fallen in love with your growth, your peace, your truth. You've fallen in love with being whole. You've realized that love isn't something you chase. It's something you reflect. You've realized that being alone doesn't mean being empty. It means being filled with the kind of strength that doesn't rely on anyone else to survive. You don't need someone to complete you anymore. You are already complete. You don't need attention to feel alive. You don't need to be chosen by others. You already chose yourself. And that is the most powerful version of you. You've stopped looking for validation. You've stopped needing permission. You've stopped letting others decide how bright you're allowed to shine. You shine because it's who you are now. You glow because you've grown. You radiate something real because you've done the deep work no one else could do for you. This kind of presence can't be faked. It can't be copied. It can't be explained in words. It can only be felt. Your energy moves people. Your spirit wakes people up. You don't just walk into a room. You shift the atmosphere. You don't just inspire. You invite others to rise with you. Some people will feel peace around you. Some will feel challenged to grow. Some will feel seen for the first time. Your presence does that. Not because you're trying to impress, but because you're living in truth. There is a kind of glow that only comes from healing. There is a kind of beauty that only comes from going through the fire and not letting it destroy you. You've been through things that should have broken you. You've faced silence, rejection, disappointment, heartbreak, and you're still here. Not bitter, not closed off, but wiser, softer, braver. And because of that, you don't just shine, you shine with purpose. So if you ever feel like people are drawn to you without knowing why, this is why. You are magnetic because your soul is clear. You are magnetic because your energy is peaceful. You are magnetic because your spirit is full. It's not about being perfect. It's about being real. It's not about being popular. It's about being powerful in your own quiet way. You don't have to apologize for being magnetic. You don't have to dim your light to make others comfortable. You don't have to hide the glow that came from your growth. You weren't made to blend in. You weren't made to disappear. You weren't made to be forgotten. You were made to be a light. And when you honor that, you give others permission to do the same. People won't just admire you. They'll be changed by you. Not because you tried to be anyone else, but because you dared to be yourself. You dared to grow. You dared to walk away from what wasn't right. You dared to love yourself enough to begin again. And now, your life is proof that the most beautiful kind of transformation is the one that starts from within. You're not just glowing. You're growing. You're not just strong. You're soft and steady. You're not just admired. You're aligned. And that is the most powerful form of beauty the world can ever witness.